All right, this week on Financial X, NVIDIA had its biggest annual event. Jensen announced a $1 trillion order backlog, and the stock went basically nowhere. Meanwhile, SMC, Super Microcomputer's co founder, got arrested, charged with smuggling $2.5 billion worth of NVIDIA AI chips to China. The stock fell 33% in a single day. And a California offshore energy company you probably never heard of, Sable Offshore, ticker SOC, went up 96% in a single month because the energy secretary invoked the Defense Production Act and restarted the oil pipeline. This is FinX. This is every single week. Welcome back. Let's cut through the noise and figure out what's actually worth looking at. So, there are three stories dominated FinX this week. They could not be more different than each other. NVIDIA GTC, the biggest AI conference of the year, $1 trillion order backlog, Jensen on stage for 3 hours, and the stock still managed to end the week basically flat. So the disconnect between the hype and the price action is worth understanding. SMCI co-founder arrested. This is the biggest governance shock in in semiconductor space this year. 3 people charged, including the co-founder himself, with smuggling $2.5 billion in NVIDIA power servers to China illegally. So again, the stock collapsed 33% in a session. FinX has questions, and so do I, including what this means for NVIDIA by association. SOC, Sable Offshore, up 96% in March, invoked the Defense Production Act. Nobody was talking about this 3 weeks ago. The energy macro is directly behind this move, and it deserves a real look. So let's get down to SMCI first. This is pretty wild. SMCI, it's kind of a lead story here. It's the biggest shock of the week. Let me be clear right away. I'm not here to cover the drama. I don't necessarily care about that. I'm here to cover how you can make money off of this and protect yourself from any poor decisions. This is not financial advice, by the way, just a strategy that I may implore. Here's what happened. The U.S. Department of Justice charged SMCI's co-founder and 2 others with illegally diverting at least $2.5 billion worth of NVIDIA AI server products to China. This violates the U.S. export control laws. The co-founder has left the board. The stock fell 33%. Now, FinX, from what I can see, is split. Some people are saying, buy the dip. SMCI always recovers. It's a quality business. Others are saying, don't touch it. The legal overhang is going to last for years. I'm kind of on that side. And here's my take. This is not a dip buy. I don't think this is a dip buy. This is a structural problem. Every time you have a governance scandal at this level, the co-founder charged $2.5 billion in illegal activity allegedly, export control violations. You have multiple layers of risk stacking on top of each other. Legal liability, contract risk from government customers, potential delistment risk, reputational damage. You don't know the bottom. You cannot know the bottom until you understand the full scope of the legal exposure. And that can take months to years to play out in court. So I don't see this as a buy the dip situation. If anything, I think you might be able to short it. You might be able to short it down to 17 or potentially even lower, right? So technically, SMCI is in free fall. There's no clear chart here right now. The falling knives are not trades. You want to see it stop falling base and give you a level to risk against if you're going to even try the longs here. So that's nowhere even near from happening. Like if anything, this would have been a potential base here if it were above the EMAs. Now, one thing that I kind of want to address is the NVIDIA angle, like that FinX is buzzing about. Does this hurt NVIDIA? Probably not significantly for the core business. SMCI was a customer, not a partner. So NVIDIA sells chips. It doesn't control what customers do with them post-sale. So the bigger issue for NVIDIA is that this reinforces why export controls on AI chips matter and could directly lead to tighter regulations going forward, which could be a mild headwind, but it's not necessarily NVIDIA specific legal problem. So overall, I would not be catching a falling knife here. This is not something. Now, don't get me wrong. You'll get some sort of bounces from short covering here. People made 30. They're down. If you made 33% on your short in one day. Who wouldn't cover? right? But what you can do is set an anchor view app, make it a color for news. The yellow is my news, and see how it respects it every time it comes to the yellow. Maybe and a consolidation area. Look for confluence in those areas. That could be a potential trade setup for continuation on the downside on Monday. Or my rules is especially like after earnings, I wait for I wait for at least 3 days before I even touch a stock. So I let it consolidate short term wise, and then I look for some sort of area, some sort of level to develop to actually risk against. So I wouldn't be trying to catch this long. I just wouldn't. If anything, this has the momentum and kind of the macro story to the downside. All right, let's go over NVIDIA real quick. So what happened there? The hype was real. The result was meh. Let me break down what actually happened at the GTC and why the stock responds to tell you something important. Jensen, he was on stage for nearly 3 hours on Monday. He announced a $1 trillion in order backlog for Vera Rubin and Blackwell systems over the next 2 years. That is double their previous 500 billion forecast. The AI factory narrative, agentic AI, physical AI, robotics, all of it is on display. 54 and 57 analysis covering NVIDIA still have a buy rating, average price target of 267, which implies basically a 46% upside from current levels. What NVIDIA do? Down 4% on the week, under the 200 EMA. Near potential support, right? This area, obviously, I'll mark it out for you. This area is, I have my alert on here. This area is an area of interest. Maybe if you want to potentially risk against here, that could be a short-term trade. But again, go watch my overall market analysis video. The market is heavy, in my opinion. We have a lot of potential supply. I think it has more downside. So really, the stock, it rallied 4% intraday on Monday, touched 188. Where's Monday here? Right there. The high 188.88, and then gave it all back by the end of the week. That's not strength. That's not strong. So basically, it's something to pay attention to. SOC, what's going on there? This one is kind of actually worth real time because it ties directly to the macro story I covered again in my weekly overview video. You can go watch that. I'll set a link below. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. Sable Offshore, ticker SOC. It's a California offshore oil producer. They had a pipeline shut down for years due to environmental and regulatory issue. This week, the Energy Secretary invoked the Defensive Production Act to restart the pipeline, citing national security and domestic energy supply, which, given what is happening in the Middle East, is it a surprise? No, not really. I don't think so. Now, the stock did go up 96% from this move here. Let's just go from the low here to the high here. That's actually 191% from low to high within 9 bars. In the month, 97.33%. So this has been a move, right? It's now digesting and consolidating. What I would do is wait. It is over the 200 EMA, which is nice. Apparently, I have an interview out from a long time ago. This could be a potential reversal play, but if we zoom out here, it is hitting potential supply. This area was prior support. It broke down. Now potential supply. It's chopping around here. So what I would like personally, in order to trade this, if you want to go on a shorter term time frame, I need to close that. Set an anchor VWAP from this most recent high. It's not really doing anything right now. Travel anchor VWAP. Okay, it's not really doing anything right now. Now you have obvious levels somewhere you can risk against. So this low right here, that's a pretty solid bottoming tail. It's near the 8 EMA. I think that'd be a decent area to risk against. Or even this demand zone here. You can see that it chopped around a little bit. You look for consolidation areas, right? I think even this area might be something interesting to risk against. I would really look for an undercut of these lows and then a reclaim. and then you can risk against the reclaim. But SOC, Sable Offshore, it has the macro backdrop, the energy macro backdrop that is kind of, I think, where people need to be focused on. And so that's kind of how I think about it, really. Let's go to AMPX. Let's look at the daily. Now, Amprius Technology, it's what, 1820 right now. It made 63% move in March. It's the defensive energy adjacent buzz. So this one's getting a lot of FinX attention, and I want to be honest about why. Amprius Technologies makes high energy density batteries, specifically silicone anode batteries technology, primarily for defensive aerospace applications. So again, defense, aerospace. These names are the ones that are moving. These names are the one to be paying attention to. You see, it's been chopping sideways. It's time correcting after this huge move. How big was this move here? Let's go from this low to the high. 109% in 20 trading days, and it is now time correcting, letting the short-term EMA catch up. Remember, time correcting markets are stronger than price correcting markets, and it is also now above that high. If we want to zoom out weekly, it looks pretty decent. That's a pretty solid look. AMPX might be somewhere I would actually recommend. Not financial advice, but setting alerts for, making a plan, knowing your levels ahead of time, and then seeing if price comes into those levels, and then gives you an area to manage your risk against, right? So the buzz around this is that the defense, energy, tech, infra overlap, everything in the current macro environment, defense spending, energy security, domestic production creates a tailwind story for the company, making advanced batteries for military and aerospace consumers. So really, the story makes sense thematically with this type of move. Does it have legs? Potentially. If the defense spending cycle is as durable as the geopolitical situation suggests, but at these levels, after the 109% move I just showed you from these lows, you might need a little bit of a deeper correction. Maybe I would, honestly, I wouldn't mind an undercut of these lows and then a reclaim. Shake out the quote unquote weak hands and then reclaim, and you can risk it on the low of the day. Potentially, right? That's a potential trade there, something you can be mindful of. PLTR, another one that has been buzzing. Again, I went over this in my macro video. Go watch it. I think this is being short story of it. I think this is being propped up by war. We know that PLTR has government contracts. We know that they are involved in war. We know that they are involved in all sorts of that stuff. So it's getting a little boost because of that. Once the war resolves at any point in time, that can happen. You need to be mindful of that. And if tech stays heavy, which the overall market looks heavy, go watch my macro video. I think this heads back down. I think this is a little bounce. It's consolidating. It's going to break these lows, and maybe we go back down to 120, 125, and consolidates over there. Holds this base high. That's what's ideal. It's chopping around the 200, chopping around the 50, chopping around this anchor VWAP from the prior low. So from this low, anyways. I am not super interested in it overall. I need more proof. Tesla, again, Tesla's always buzzing. You can't just listen to FinX pump Tesla all the time. Listen, I like Tesla. I'm a long-term investor in Tesla. But you can't be trading Tesla right now, especially if you're swing trading it, at least to the long side. Maybe you can swing it to the short side, but it's not the best look right now. It's under the 200 EMA. It's coming up to an area of interest. It's kind of at an area of interest, the breakout of that prior high. Maybe it holds here, bounces and consolidates and starts turning around. But we need some sort of pretty strong move higher and then consolidates and to start rounding out. So in order for something to happen, I would really like a strong move. That's a strong move. And then it continues to chop around and then it curls back up. We need something like that to happen. Otherwise, this just looks lower. It doesn't look the greatest. TSM, there's your support level right there. Looks like it's going. BE, I don't know how you trade this. This is just choppy, sloppy mess. Down 10% in a day, up 8% the next day. Choppy, sloppy. RGTI, looks lower. These are all the names that have been covered. Here's a nice little uptrend line for you. It broke it. There's the retest. Looks lower. ONDS looks lower. Zeta looks lower. LRCX looks like it's not doing anything. Might be okay. Path, again, retesting prior support area, potential resistance now. Not the best look. CRWV, I think it still has more work to do. Long term, it's probably going to be a decent name, but just not right now. RKT getting smashed. Planet Labs, that earnings. All right, look at that. Planet Labs might actually be of interest. So how do you trade this? Gap, right there. Label it as a gap. Okay. You want to mark off these specific highs. I'll show you how to do it right now. Specific high, 27.26. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the low, 32.26. There you go. There's your gap. Now you don't touch it. You missed the day trade. Okay. You don't touch it for 3 days. You let it digest this move. You set an anchor VWAP. Right? Nah, not there. You could do a pre-gap anchor VWAP or a post-gap anchor VWAP. I like to do pre. Now you could, if you wanted to, set a range from high to low here of that 30-minute bar and see what happens. And just let this base out. Let it base out. Let some sort of pattern that you are familiar with form, and then find a level to risk against. Okay? PL, interesting for next week. IonQ, looks lower, looks weak, at a prior area of support, tapping in again. More times you touch something, the lower, the less likely it is to hold. EOS looks low. MTSI, chopping, sloppy. There we go. I was wondering why I've been covering this name if you've been watching my videos, and it's been doing rather well, but this is really what it should be doing. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Where at a prior area of support, right? I leveled it out there. Don't be shocked. Don't be surprised. That's how these trash names trade. Target getting hit too, right? I think Target's still a reversal. eBay doesn't look good. USAR, sell the news. Buy the rumor, sell the news. SMR looks lower. I would be watching for a break of this low here. Set yourself a level, especially a break of Friday low, and set yourself an alert. And that's what I would do. I think I clicked the alert there. FLNC doesn't look good. Not at all, right? You get the gist? Again, the reason why I do these videos is to go over the names. VRT, I was hopeful for this guy, but he's struggling. Just overall market struggling, right? I go over the names quickly that are buzzing around on FinX and see what is actually like legit versus something you can skip, because people that don't understand what they're doing, I know for a fact you guys travel, or you guys trade blindly and just trust people blindly. You don't do that. LIT actually looks pretty solid. I would be looking for it. This thing moves. Okay, look, 10% in one day and then down 8% the next day. You need to manage that risk. Know your levels ahead of time. Where can we risk against here? We have a gap that is not filled just yet. So maybe some area within here. And there's the 21 EMA too, that blue line. That's an area of interest. LITE looks pretty solid, but you need to manage your risk with this. This is a very volatile name. So have a plan ahead of time. KTOS, again, how many times can an area be touched before it fails? The more times an area is touched, the more likely it is to fail. HWM looks not good. CIEN looks pretty good, up and to the right. EMAs trending upwards. Looks nice. Got hit Friday. Nice push on Thursday. So maybe you can trade that. CMPS doesn't look good. Rivian continues to be a heartbreaker. Look, I didn't even see the chart. I already know it. This level right here, I'd watch for 1450 to break down, then 1360, and then heck, maybe even 1250. I don't know how you guys continue to trade that. I used to and just broke my heart too many times. It just doesn't do anything. It just chops around. FSLY trending upwards. strong name. I looked there as well. Core starting to chop around, get a little sloppy. Corning, this was an AI infrastructure build out because of glass and all that's going to be needed. At a huge move. This basing needs to happen. I think it needs to base a little bit longer and digest, but I think that'll be a name in the future. GE, I went over that in my main video. GEV looks okay. ARM looks okay. AEHR holding where it needs to so far. But if it falls back in within this base, it's gonna be a no touch. It's gonna be a no go. There's better places to spend your time. Hood, I went over in my main video. Dell, we shouldn't be surprised, gapped up to supply prior resistance and then sold off. So I would look for a potential entry here. Rocket Lab continues to base, do nothing. Watch this level here for either support or if it breaks through. If you want to risk against it and it falls through, get out of the way. SNDK actually looks very strong. SNDK continues to be a strong name. This is just kind of, it's not really bullish, or sorry, it's not bearish engulfing, but it is close to it. We need this area to hold. Right. It's a nice base though, and it's breaking out of it. You want to see if it wants to continue upwards. All right, cool. I'm going to conclude that there are the names that were popular over the last few weeks, but more specifics on the other names. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Like, subscribe, share. Go watch my macro video that I do every week and prepare for. And I will see you next week. Later.